And we are diving into game number 1 of our upper semifinals match. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have the Vietnamese Zurich player himself representing Team Gosu. He's the last King of the Sea. It is MeomaikA. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent. We have the Australian Terran player. He is blue. He is also Azure. See what I did there? Oh god, as we quickly set up our lovely overlays. Man, there we go. Beautiful, beautiful. Just making sure we have the correct names on the screen. And I do need to add an alias here to casting tool as well. Last C King. Lovely, lovely. All right, and we're already getting into this. We see, oh my god, we have a hatch gas pool from MeomaikA. Is he feeling okay? We have a standard opener here from MeomaikA. You love to see it. And another thing we love to see is some more support in the chat. Thank you so much. Shout out to Night Phoenix for the raid of 49. Thank you so much, papi. Gracias, gracias. Bienvenidos. Hope you had a great ladder session. Hope you had a great stream. Thank you so much for the raid and for the support. For those that are tuning in, we are getting into our second semifinals of the night. Honmono, the Japanese Terran, is waiting in the grand finals for the winner of this series, for the winner of MeomaikA versus Azure. Let's go, papi. Let's go. Everyone, welcome to the Grand Platypus Open. Quack. It's beautiful, papi. It's beautiful. Welcome to GPO. This is a bi-weekly tournament for our region, for Oceania, Southeast Asia, China, and Taiwan, Hong Kong. So more of the ESL Masters Asia region, if you will. Best of the best do rock up. Oliveira, just a little bit afraid, a little bit scared, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all, as we do see Azure just poking and prodding here with his first Reaper, dancing with these Lings, and he does get 2 Ling kills already. Very nicely done. Behind this, we have a pretty standard setup. It is going to be a 3 CC before Starport opener. Very economic from Azure. You love to see it. And Azure has something that Orianna didn't. If you recall, in the quarterfinals, we did cast Orianna against MeomaikA, and Orianna is maybe not as experienced playing against him, but Azure has played so many games against MeomaikA. He's watched so many games as well. MeomaikA is very, again, endemic to our region, and because of that, he should be aware of his strengths and weaknesses, of MeomaikA's tendencies. Again, MeomaikA, he has certain trends that he usually sticks to, and because of that, he can sometimes be a little bit predictable. The thing is, even if you know what he's doing, even if you have an idea of where his build is going, it's still like so difficult to keep up anyway. Like, MeomaikA is such a fast player, he's so aggressive as well. Oh, and speaking of, this is crazy. He's gonna be denied, but MeomaikA, he is trying to take a very fast 4th base before his 3rd is even done. This is unheard of. This is crazy. At the same time, MeomaikA is going for a very fast lair as well, going for the lair, going for an Evo chamber and a 2nd gas. What are we working towards? Is this going to be for Hydras? I'm kind of feeling Hydras. We'll wait and see. Again, this was around a 3-minute 50 lair timing, or 3-minute 40, so a very fast lair. We're rushing into this tech, and this could be for a multitude of things. We have +1 carapace on the way. We have a flood of Lings coming in as well, but Azure, he doesn't care about your Lings. He doesn't care about your Queens. He dives into the natural. Dives into the mineral line, and he's going to be roasting up so many of these drones. Lings are coming out. They will clean this up. What's important is that Azure didn't scout the main. He doesn't know. He hasn't seen that lair. Just double checking. Yeah. He hasn't seen it. And it is going to be for a Ling Queen all-in. Here we go. The extra gas threw me off because when you're going for a Ling Queen all-in, we don't really need it. But You know, maybe we're just making that for a later date. The Lings, they go first round as well. Ooh, two of these Hellions do get caught out. The boys are being pulled. Ooh, with the death of these Hellions, that's going to make the defense even harder here for Azure. It was a 3cc, sorry, it was a 1-1-1 into that Liberator as well, not into a Banshee. It wasn't 3cc Banshee, so with that he's going to have a Liberator at least at home to defend. Helps clean up all these Lings, but we're not done because the Nidus is on the way in the main. Oh, and Azure does get eyes on it. He's fully aware. He's coming back to defend. It looks like that gas was for roaches, as the Roach Warren was thrown down. A couple of roaches are on the way as well. But because the Liberation Zone, yeah, we're not going to be committing. We're just going to throw down another Nidus next to the first one. Yo, and here we go. The Queens do pop out. They're going to try and focus on the Liberator. Can they get it? No, they cannot. The repair is just too damn good. 2 Queens go down. 3 Queens go down. Ay, ay, ay. The defense back at home from Azure was just a little bit too good. And MeomaikA is forced to back off. He's still not droning, by the way. He cut workers at 44, and he's staying at 44. He's filling up that Nidus with more Queens, with more Roaches. We're going for a Nidus into the main base. Once again, it is going to be spotted. It will not finish. But MeomaikA may not care. He's going to be pushing out across map with his Roaches, and he's going to be throwing down a Nidus in the natural on the front lines. More Lings going to be flooding across the map. Or flooding into the Nidus. What do we have at home to defend? We have 1 Liberator. We don't have a tank yet. Without a tank, we can still just push up into the natural. That is still going to be a possibility. Here we go. The Nidus does finish. The Queens have arrived. Going to be slowly spreading creep. I love this. We're going to be working backwards as well, going through these rocks. And Azure is going to try and get away with saturating this third base. We'll see if he can. As this is a very vulnerable third. Azure rushing on forward. Looks like he's going to be able to take down both of those Queens. Can he go for the Nidus as well? Looks like he can't. Well, the Lings rush on forward. They get a full surround on these Marines with a little bit of help of those tanks with the friendly fire. It looks like a lot of the Marines do go down, but no, Azure still wins out on that trade. And this is what I'm worried about, because MeomaikA has been bleeding out a lot of units. A lot of units. And it feels like Azure hasn't really sustained too many losses, but maybe I spoke too soon. 1 tank goes down. The Liberators will get piled down as well. MeomaikA is unrelenting. He doesn't want to slow down. Ooh, a tank just barely arrives in time. Boys are being pulled, and it looks like MeomaikA is barely breaking through, just barely. He gets the final tank. Lings are coming in to reinforce. Very similar to like Honmono versus Lemon in a way, where MeomaikA has been all in for so long, since almost the start of the game. And he's barely breaking through. 19 SCVs go down. The wall is not a wall. And even if MeomaikA gets cleaned up, he's already done the damage that he needs to do, and he's not being cleaned up because the Lings, they keep on arriving. They're getting on top of the tanks as well. Nice target firing there. There's only 1 Ravager left. But the Lings don't care. They're getting into the mineral line. More SCVs. Depots falling left and right. Eventually, Azure is going to be able to hold on, but what is he holding on to? What is he protecting? We have a 4th. We have a 4th. We've got drones. We've got +2 carapace on the way. Oof. And Azure has the potential for drop play. He's got medevacs, don't get me wrong. But he's got a lot to overcome. The defense was looking quite solid from Azure for like the first half, and then the second half he was bleeding out a little bit too much. He got caught out here when he was trying to clean up this Nidus. A little bit too cavalier. And behind this, MeomaikA has been able to drone at least a little bit. You know, droning up to 66. Not a bad worker count. With this, he can max out on a Road Traveling Bane. Baneling Nest is on the way, 2-2 as well. Double Drop is looking to deal some damage though. MeomaikA is made aware of it with that Overlord. And he has very limited anti-air. MeomaikA, he's not really one to make queens. He has 5 queens, but really they're injecting queens more than anything. He's not really spreading creep. Oh, as we do see that forward base being under threat here by these Marines. Stim again is done. With the carapace, it looks like MeomaikA is able to trade a little bit, but not the best trade from Meo. Oof. And I just don't see a world where Azure can hold on to this third. He's gonna try to. Even goes for a scan, expecting a couple of creep tumors. MeomaikA getting ready here at his 5th base. Baneling's speed is still on the horizon, but Banelings are being morphed in. Again, Ling Bane, Roach, Ravager is the army composition of choice, and MeomaikA has plenty of it. Ooh, we don't want to be fighting too prematurely, though. We're trying to get on top of these Marines, but a lot of these things are going down. Ooh. Yeah, we fought a little bit too quickly there by MeomaikA. He didn't have what he needed to defend. Is going to be losing a hatchery. And this is the beginning of a comeback for Azure. He kills a base, trades well against the Lings, and backs off. Good fight from Azure. He's going to need to do that again. Scans, does get eyes on the 3rd base. Doesn't know about the 4th, though. Oh, I just realized this entire time Azure may have thought that he was up against the 2 base all in. Lings are going to be threatening that 3rd base. Biles are going to be connecting with those tanks. Yeah, and it looks like we just have too much on the ground. The tanks are falling left and right. The Banelings find good enough connections. GG gets called, and MeomaikA takes game number 1. GG. Meo macro, let's go. True, Papi, true. GG, well played. MeomaikA does take that first game, but now we're going to be getting ready for our second. It's going to need a moment to get ready. Game 1, of course, was on Australia. Game 2 will be on Singapore. We do alternate between said servers. As we're getting into our second game, and yeah, that was pretty intense. Like MeomaikA going for the Ling Queen Nidus all in with the Roach follow-up. I love the Roach follow-up because if you remember, MeomaikA took that second gas pretty early on, so he was already preparing for that. He was already expecting the Ling Queen to fail, and it did. And things were looking really bad for MeomaikA. If you remember, he lost 3 queens initially. 3 queens, basically for free. Like, Azure shut down the Niduses so well. It was the follow-up that dealt the damage. It was the follow-up Roach Ravager Ling push from those Niduses at the natural that really got out of hand. That's the thing about MeomaikA. He's got layers, bud. He's got layers. And here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood. We have the man himself, switching colors. Interesting. Switching those colors, we have the Vietnamese Zerg player representing Team Gosu, the last king of the sea. It is MeomaikA. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Royal Blood, we have his opponent. We have no longer the blue Terran player, the red Terran. Despite his in-game color, he is Azure. Let's go, Papi, let's go. Just give me a moment, I have to fix the name. There we go. just had to manually type it in. As we return to normalcy, what does that mean? MeomaikA is going for a pull first. This is the MeomaikA we know and love. I was feeling really uneasy in game number 1 when I saw MeomaikA go for a hatch gas pull. Like, it was like, what's happening? Like, am I like some Twin Peaks stuff going on? Where MeomaikA, there was just something off about him, this uncanny valley effect where like, this is just not normal, this just shouldn't be, something is amiss. Thankfully, we're back to the pull first. Ooh. With the pull first, we're just prioritizing queens. We're gonna maybe make a couple of links here and there, but really it is just for safety more than anything. As we get into our openers. In the chat is like getting a co-caster for WTL. Is he doing all-day solo cast? I will have a co-caster for WTL. I will. Yaku. El Yaku of the Zaku should be joining me for WTL later on in the evening. So it's all good. It's all good. I did end up solo casting KSL, but I should have someone for WTL. So it's okay. It's okay. I'll deal with it. I can take it, Papi. I can take it. It's okay. Oh my god. So we do see that Reaper almost getting boxed in there. Massive reaction out of MeomaikA, but oh, does he get it? Oh, he will get a kill on that Reaper. Ooh, and that is dangerous because MeomaikA did not pull out of gas. He's got link speed on the way. We have more gas on the way. He could throw down an early Roach Warren, and Azure would be none the wiser. He's going to be that much more in the dark after losing that Reaper. We do see a straight up 1-1-1 opener. No 3cc before starport, so this is a lot less economic. This is a lot more aggressive. The onus is going to be on Azure to get damage done here, as he's in a way setting himself behind or giving up on his economy or his economic advantage. So we'll see what this leads to here. We are going to be going for a bit of an add-on swap, I imagine. Yep, there we go, going for an add-on swap. So this shouldn't be for BCs, it should be for Banshees. Banshees are going to be on the horizon. Meanwhile, back at home with that additional gas, what are we using it on? Oh, 1-1. We saw this on altitude against Orianna, if you recall. Or sorry, it wasn't on altitude, but we saw this against Orianna, where MeomaikA, he goes for very fast 1-1 upgrades, and this will lead into a very fast 2-2 Ling timing. And he skips out on the Banelings. He does have a Baneling nest, but he typically avoids making them, and he just relies on just mass Ling, and he overwhelms the Terran, and it's macro, Papi. Like, he just, you know, he maintains map control and eventually techs into Hive and has access to eventually Ultras if he wants to. Ultra play. But 2-2 is when he really does hit his stride. I mean, there may even be a period, we saw it against Orianna, where MeomaikA has 2-2 and the Terran player has 0-0. Like, that could happen. Oh boy. As we aren't going to be seeing an all-in, we do see a third CC behind this from Azure. Does lose a couple of workers. Meanwhile, my mistake, even though we had the tech lab on the starport, we only made a Viking. Only a Viking. We actually didn't really invest into any Banshees. Just Hellion Viking for map control, and we are transitioning into more Raxes from here. These Hellions are designed to not just get map control, but also, you know, keep the creep at bay and trade well against those links. And MeomaikA, because he doesn't know what's happening, he's throwing down spores everywhere. Oh, and Azure, he doesn't care about just spores. He gets a couple of drones for his troubles. The Lings are arriving, though. These Hellions, it's a one-way trip. They're getting surrounded. All those Hellions for 2 drones, not ideal, but in a way there was some other damage being done. The spores, for example, every one of these spores was a drone, and now is no longer. We don't just have one spore for each base, we have an additional spore here at the third base, here outside the natural, here outside the main. It's almost as if MeomaikA was not just scared about Banshees, but even a little bit paranoid about BCs. So yeah, taking that threat very seriously, but of course we can see there's neither BCs or Banshees, so, you know, some great indirect economic damage done to MeomaikA. Meanwhile, 1-1 is done, and 2-2 is on the way. It looks like by the time 2-2 finishes, Azure should be on some upgrades, so he's not going to be at too much of an upgrade deficit. But regardless, like, the strength of these lings is going to be insane pretty soon. And there's that infestation pit. Again, we're just only spending our gas on upgrades and on tech. No Bailey Nest yet, just pure Ling Queen. Here we go, Azure is slowly expanding, taking his third base. Behind this, we're taking on up. We're getting into Marine Mine, which I think is going to be a very good composition here against MeomaikA. The mines especially. I do appreciate that we're not going for any kind of tank push. That's where Orianna struggled a little bit. If you recall, he committed so much into this 2-ace tank push that fell in its face as it ran into mass Ling from MeomaikA. That was on Gressfarm. So kind of getting into all of our Raxes. We do have 5 Raxes here in the main. No additional gas is being taken. We could end up going into an 8 Rax here from Azure, as we have a pretty big Ling counterattack. Ooh, the Marines are forced to turn around. He was in the midst of pushing, and even forces the CC to be lifted. Azure just being slowed down, and that means that 2-2 is going to be done in time for that next push. Infestation bit is done. Hive is now on the way. See the chat throwing down 6 boards, a classic Mia. Yeah, Mia just getting into his own head a little bit. But yeah, with that Hive on the way, we're gonna have access to Ultras, papi. Ultras, let's go. Or even Vipers if we wish. We got options. Regardless, 3-3 is what we want. Is what we really want. 3-3 and Adrenal Glands. It should be starting shortly. Meanwhile, because this Marine push, we do have an investment into these Banelings. Oh, the mines! Ooh. Big chunk of these Lings are going to be going down to those mines. Meanwhile, we do have the Hive finishing. There it is, 3-3 on the horizon. Very fast 3-3 timing here. Another mine shot that's going to be going off. But again, the Ling Bane is just overwhelming the ground army. Despite the good mine shots, it's not enough. The Banelings, they're crashing into the natural as well. They're going for the Marines. And they will get them. Third base is compromised as well. 21 SCV is going to be going down. There's Adrenal Glands as well. And again, Azure, he was caught out on the map. Caught pushing against MeomaikA. Up. Up. Oof. Again, the mine shots have been good, but like, shit, the overwhelming flood of Ling Bane was just too much, as MeomaikA did cut drones here at 69. Nice. But again, you can afford to, because like, we're not taking too many gases. Like, we don't need that many drones here because we're going for such a mineral intensive style instead. Ooh. And there is that Ultra Cavern. Now, the mines weren't cleaned up. Bear that in mind. But no, the ones on the wall. Oh my god. GG gets called. We're not going to see the Ultras. We're not going to see 3-3 because MeomaikA busts into the natural base and takes game number 2. GG. Well played. Oh my god. MeomaikA takes the 2-0 here, and he moves on to the Grand Finals. And this is going to be beautiful. This is actually going to be beautiful here. GG, congratulations to MeomaikA again in very MeomaikA fashion, going for this fast upgrade kind of mass Ling composition, this mass Ling style. It's something that only MeomaikA does, and he can look pretty damn good utilizing it. I'll always remember the game that he played against Cure a couple of months ago, which was so good. But regardless, GG, well played. Congratulations to MeomaikA. He moves on to the Grand Finals to face his next opponent, the final boss. The honorable of monorables himself, Honmono, is going to be waiting for MeomaikA in those finals. Let's go, papi. Let's go. As I quickly just refresh the bracket here so we can all have a quick little gander at what has been going on. As it looks like it's a little bit bugged, actually, so never mind. There we go, there we go. MeomaikA does take the 2-0, moves on to the grand finals. MeomaikA took down Oriana to get here, took down Dash as well. Filipino Protoss and a Chinese Terran, their own respective rights. Really good players. And now he goes up against the best player in all of Japan. And that is going to be after this break. We're going to be taking a short 5-minute break when we return to the grand finals. See you then.